It's time to start thinking about fall. For those growers planning on winter wheat, Soil Biotics Organic 1R seed treatment can be applied to organic winter wheat seed for increased germination and better stands. We have seen results of as many as 5,000 more live plants per acre. For your post-harvest residue digestion and soil maintenance program, Soil Biotics SB 5500 is the answer. It contains beneficial microorganisms that degrade dead plant tissue, converting it to valuable organic matter and reducing disease and insect pressure. See their entire lineup at soilbiotics.com.
This is Thomas Heckman from West Central Ohio with your monthly update. Weather for the past month since the last update, it got wet and cold for about 3 weeks, rainy. We had the 1 week we had 4 inches of rain, and then last week we got 2 inches. But here this week is just beautiful. We got our Indian summer, I guess you could say. Very nice. It's warm. The last couple weeks been cold, freezing, and just damp and cold. Just really didn't get anything done for 2 weeks there. This week just nice, 70 degrees, 60s to 70, sunny. We're just really a lot of equipment running, so weather really turned around. Getting right then when after the last update, beginning of the month there, we did. I put a bag of high moisture corn down, 6 foot by 200 foot, and it grinds it as it goes into the bag. Never done that before. I just started feeding it last week. It seems like nice feed. It's easy. I don't have to grind feed. And so that corn, we ran that off. It was around 30%. So it was about 5,000 bushel we put in that bag. So that should get me for quite a ways this year on corn. And then we didn't do anything for 2 weeks there. And then here this beginning Monday, we started shelling. We had, 50 acres of corn left to shell. So we got all but 20 acres off. We got 1 farm left. It's 20%, so we're drying it in the bin. We chopped stalks on, so we got 30 acres chopped and another 20 acres stalks chopped. So we're going to bale corn fodder today. Dad raked it up yesterday. Got nice sun shining, so it should be good dry fodder for bedding, which we really need. He cut some clover. Dad's my tractor driver. He cut some clover the other on Wednesday. So we're going to wrap that, but it's going to take a little bit drying, probably a couple of days here. We'll check it tomorrow. So we got to bale and wrap that. That should make some nice feed. So we're just really trying to get a lot done here in this nice weather. Next week's don't look quite as sunny, but just small rain chances, but still don't look bad. So get the rest of the corn off. We want to bale that fodder too, and then got a lot of manure to haul. So get that done. And I got one more field clover I may make if it gets dry enough. We'll see. So really, a lot of stuff getting done. Equipment running everywhere around here. So really needed that. Really needed this weather here. For the cows, I wasn't grazing there for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Just so wet and muddy and cold. And we was feeding a lot at the barn anyway, so went on full winter dry lot ration, feeding twice a day. But kind of crazy. We let them. It got nice now here, and I let them out. And there's some stuff for them to eat, but it's nothing. I'm not backing the ration off or anything. And just getting them to lay out in the field, and they eat some clover, a little bit of this and that, but not a lot. And I got 3 pounds bump in milk just from letting them back out again. And I think some of it's just they're more comfortable just laying out there than in the barn. Right now they're at 6 to 7 pounds of milk, 4.1 fat and 3.2 protein, so they're doing really well. And anything else, I guess just a lot of stuff, a lot of field work getting done around here this week, so things are looking good.
Do you think the sunshine is helping the cows too?
It could be. I think so. I I don't think it's had anything to do with feed because I haven't changed my ration. I think it's more just they're more comfortable. Just they're just more comfortable,
Hmm.
hands down. I think. And sun does help. I'm not gonna. You're right, but I think yeah, because they will stand. We got open lot because we got to have outside access. Which way my farm's set up, I got an open lot anyways, and they'll stand outside in the sun sometimes if it's sunny, even when it's crappy out, just because they want to, get the sunlight compared to laying in the barn. So I think then if they can lay out in the field, you're laying down, so you're making more milk while they're laying and they're in the sun. So I guess
Hmm.
you're right. It's just yeah, it's kind of neat to see.
Hmm. On your corn stalks, you don't use that in the freeze sols, do you?
I don't like to. No, I don't like to. You get too much dirt, and I don't know. I try to bed with straw, and I will if I have to, but I don't like to. More just all of our bed pack. And then we have fed it a little bit, free choice if we got some nice stuff, if we're short on hay to dry cows or something, and to heifers, but mainly just bedding.
Do you
But we
rotary
got a
cut
lot
it?
of corn this year. Yeah, we got a stalk chopper,
Okay.
and we chop them, and then I got a wheel rake. We rake it up. So we're going to get a lot this year, but just we're going to stock up for the next couple of years.
Hmm.
Extra bedding doesn't hurt. So, and it goes back on the fields. We're covering them all with manure, so
Hmm.
I don't worry about that.
Oh. How's your corn yield running on stuff you're shelling?
So the stuff in the 190s, I think the stuff we did high moisture corn, they appraised that at 193, and just my rough figuring on wagons on the stuff we shelled dry were in the 190s. So really good, really happy, really happy. So actually, I'll have enough corn for shelled corn for 2 years now. So that's nice. I like to keep a extra inventory for in case the next year's not so good.
Hmm. That's always nice to have extra.
Yep. So I won't sell any. I'll keep it unless I have a really good year next year and I got too much. But I should get my bin full. I got 9,000 bushel bin. I should be able to get that full, and then I got 5,000 bushel in high moisture corn. So that's kind of the reason I did the high moisture corn. So I had enough room to store it.
Yeah. Well, I
So
know, like you said, the weather this week has just been unbelievable, and it was kind of the wrong week to try to get these farmer updates. But I really appreciate you taking the time this morning to give us an update, and I'm glad to hear things are going good.
yep, sounds good. See you, Mike.
Yep.
This is Jon Bansen in Oregon with the Oregon West Coast Report. It's now kind of the season that we usually get washed in the barn, and we're still able to put cows out for grazing. We've just moved just this week to once a day grazing, just because it's once daylight savings time hits and the nights get so long and the days get so short. It's kind of hard to get a check on cows at all, and the grass is starting to slow down quite a bit anyway. We have a little feed out there in the fields, and the cows are still milking pretty well on it, but it's definitely in that slow down period. And we don't really like to overgraze anyway going into wintertime. We like a little bit of residual out there. I like having all the tall stuff grazed off, but I do like having some residual, so there's a little more leaf surface out there for wintertime growth, because we don't get deep freezes here usually. Usually, sometimes we do, but usually we don't. So pretty much everything in a usual year stays green out in the fields, and will slowly grow. It grows very slowly, but there is a little growth happening, and by the time you get to February, if you haven't overgrazed in the fall time, and by the time you get to February and the light just starts to gain a little bit more, you really start to pick up some feed, so we're ready to hit it with the grazing herd as soon as the days dry out and up in March. So it's been I think we've seen some stress-related issues on all the farms around here. We've noticed some on our farm as well. I think post-traumatic stress disorder maybe from that smoke we had for 10 days. We've had a lot more hoof issues going into the fall time than we've ever had before. Other herds have had some serious issues with respiratory problems, pneumonia. So that has been, I think we got a little lingering side effect off of our 10 days of horrible air quality. But other than that, the cows are doing pretty darn well, and we start tucking everything in the barn, kind of bring our smallest heifers in first. Largest heifers will be the last things in the barn. They'll be out there finishing up whatever grazing we have. As soon as the residual's about where I want it, everybody comes off the fields, and we're in a winter mode. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. On a personal note, we've had kind of a big change on our farm because my son has moved into the main dairy house. We moved up to our other farm, up about 8 miles away from the farm, and it's been really a nice transition for our farm. And our son Ross was ready to notch it up the next level, and he's doing a real good job down there. And so we've kind of changed some things around. And on another personal level, I've become a grandfather for the first time. So I got a little granddaughter, Charlie Ruth, this week, and that's kind of a kick too. So that's kind of what's going on in our region.
Well, John, thank you, and congratulations on both those, especially the grandpa.
Yeah.
You don't look old enough to be a grandpa.
Well, I am old enough to be a grandpa. I don't know if I'm old enough to head off to the Dottage cottage yet up on the hill, but I've done that too. So,
Yeah.
No, it's been a big change this fall time for the whole farm, and it's working pretty well.
I think it's really exciting when you see that next generation step in and take over. It shows that you were successful in what you're doing if the kids are interested in continuing. So, congratulations.
Well, and I think it's kind of important that you move out of the way and give them some room before they get too old and you get too old. I just think that, I remember we took over the farm, bought the farm, my wife and I, when we were 28 years old, and I remember the fire I had in my belly at that time, and my son's 31 now, and I've seen the fire in his belly, and he's really ready for that move, and he's very good at what he does, so no worries there. It's all worked out really well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sounds good. On the lung issues, do you generally have lung issues in the fall when rainy season hits, or is it a lot worse this year because of the smoke?
We haven't, luckily, we haven't experienced any on our farm. Generally, since we're a mild climate, most of our barns are pretty much wide open. We don't have any side walls on pretty much any of our barns out here. So there's really good airflow, and even in the calf barn, big windows open all the way around, the doors open on the ends. So that's not usually an issue. So the one farm that I know that's been hit really hard with pneumonia issues, that's kind of an outlier that's happening. But and I've heard of other farms that weren't organic that were suffering with lung issues too. So it's not, I know in other parts of the country they have to put cows into kind of tighter barns because the winters get really cold, and that causes problems. Out here, it's just not a usual thing we deal with. So that does kind of show that there was some lingering results from those fires.
Yeah, I'm sure that all that smoke and that 10 days of horribleness that you had, it's going to be showing its effects probably all through winter and into next spring, I'm sure.
Oh, I think it's going to linger. I know. I definitely think we're going to see lingering issues, and maybe any cow that was already just a little bit a little bit teetering on the edge of health. Like I heard a vet years ago talk about how, your cows, the scale of health is really like 100 to 0, and a cow is never at 100. None of us are ever at 100. You want to stay as high as you can, but he said, a cow that's at 80 and she gets hit with a stressor, now she's down at 60, and they start showing really ill effects at 50, I think he said, and then he was a little snarky. He said, and the vet doesn't get called in until they're at about a 30, and it's hard to do much at that point. But I do believe anybody that would have been anywhere hovering in close to that 50 because of other issues would get down below where they really start to show bad health effects. So I think that's probably what we'll see. Anybody that was just a little bit weakened immune system will have more effects. And we did see some elevated somatic cells over what we normally have. We're finally getting those back down to that 100 and below 100 on the farm, but we definitely were trending higher than we have for a few years there after the smoke. So.
Well, it's good that it's raining out there and the fires are a thing of the past for the year, and sounds like things are going pretty good for you. Yeah.
The rain is coming. We had a pretty good rain, a really good rain, cold rain last night. Felt like winter time in here, and today it's clearing back up, and we got 3 or 4 nice days where the cows will be out twice a day for a little bit, maybe. They might just be snuck out once a day. It kind of depends on what it looks like, and then the end of next week, I think we descend into winter time because they're saying inch at a time of really cold stuff. So snow in the mountains, that's usually the sign that we're done for the season.
Well, Jon, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and call me this morning. So congratulations again on becoming a grandpa, and hope you have a great week.
Thank you, too.
Good morning, everybody. It's November here in North Carolina, a couple of days after the election, so we don't know anything about the future, but maybe we will someday. Weather's beautiful down here today. Temperatures are still hovering around 70 degrees, and we are getting a little bit of frost in the mornings, but we're kind of staying in that 32 to 35 for the lows last few days. Just coming out of a really bad storm. Hurricane Zeta was really hard on western North Carolina. We had a lot of wind and damage with trees and some roofs and stuff like that, but we got through it and had some good rain that we could have used, but we could have done without the wind. So we spent a lot of time cutting trees off fences and all that kind of stuff for the last little while, but we're finishing up with our annual ryegrass, getting it in the ground, a little bit more cover crops. So a lot of beans being harvested in this part of the country, but where everybody's starting to kind of wrap it up and hopefully start on the winter projects. There's plenty of those waiting. Milk's been kind of hard to buy in the southeast. We've had quite a bit of, I guess, a lot of the silage and stuff, the baleage that's been made, it was maybe just a little bit too wet, and I think maybe washed some nutrients away. Stuff's not testing out quite as good as we'd hoped, but so we're not getting the production that we would like. But hopefully, if the weather holds, we may go into some grazing here pretty soon and maybe help stimulate the cows. And our farm personally been holding a lot of our early spring baleage back for winter to feed during the harder times. So maybe we'll get a little milk later on. But pastures look good. Grass is still growing down here. It is slowing down, but your winter annuals and even some of your fescues are really, really growing. Matua grass is really growing a lot right now. So hopefully that'll continue. Still think we're going to have a hard winter. but we'll take it while it lasts. That pretty much sums it up down here.
Sam, when you mentioned combining beans, would that be double cropped after something else?
Yes, most of the beans down here, if it's early crop or one crop, they were cut about a month and a half ago. But these late beans are either following wheat or some barley, or where somebody maybe made some baleage or something in the spring. But usually, a lot of people double crop small grain and beans, and they're being harvested now. Yep.
Hmm. When I was down through there a couple of weeks ago, I saw cotton, which we obviously don't
Hmm.
have up here in Ohio. Are they harvesting that now, or when is that harvested?
Not yet. Not yet. It's getting close. They'll probably start around Thanksgiving. It's opened up a lot since you've been here, and it's getting close. So I'd say they'll start. Last year they started around Thanksgiving and they finished up about Christmas. I don't think that's ideal. It's just kind of how the weather worked, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they start a little here in another week or two. But to me, it looks like it's ready, but I don't think it's quite ready. This is about as far north as you'll see cotton, right here where we are, and about as far west. There's a lot of it in eastern North Carolina, and get down to South Carolina, Georgia. There's a ton of cotton. A lot east of here, but these guys, they grow some about every year or two. I think they had about 1,800 acres this year of cotton. It did really well. It looks really good. So we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, when we left your place a couple weeks ago when we were down and headed south, I saw this field and I was trying to figure out what in the world is that. And then there were just a couple of white puffs on there, and I was like, oh, that's cotton. I'm
Yep.
not used to seeing it. That was kind of interesting.
I would give anything to get these guys an organic cotton market, because I'd love to buy the cotton seed.
Oh.
I miss cotton seed back in the conventional days. That's the one thing I do miss about conventional feeding cotton seed. But there
So,
used to be a couple guys in East North Carolina that had it, that had organic cotton, and there was some cotton seed available, but I never got in on that. That stopped before we got on the truck.
hmm well, it sounds like your fall weather right now is a little bit like it is here. It's just about as beautiful as you can get it. So wish it would last for
Oh,
another 6 weeks or so, but it's changing next week here. Well, Sam, I really appreciate you taking the time
yep,
to talk to me
absolutely.
today. I know it's fall's wrapping up and it's time to get ready for winter, so I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
All right, well, this is John. I'm from Lancaster, Wisconsin. Kind of wrapping up the whole harvest season. We completed corn last Saturday. Yields were really good. We've averaged about 150 bushels the acre. We got all our rye and winter wheat planted early for the corn chopping stuff, and hopefully we'll finish up today or tomorrow with rye from the stuff that we took dry corn off of, basically just as a cover crop. So that first thing in the spring, we got something growing. Other than that, the weather's been beautiful. We had a shot of rain a couple of weeks ago, and it's been dry pretty much ever since. They're talking rain this week. About an inch and a half possible. So it'll really help our whole rye that we are planting right now getting a little better established. So I'm excited for that. Cows are still grazing during the day on some forest crop that we didn't take, and we're starting to run out of that, but we got some paddocks that we've been off of now for 2 to 3 weeks that we're going to graze one last time before the snow flies. Other than that, I think that's it for the final crop report.
Do you graze any of your cover crops?
It depends. Like if we got a bunch of cover crops where we are grazing, we'll graze them in the spring before we, in the fall if they come up good. But none of ours is high enough this year that we're going to be able to graze any of it. So normally we do, but this year we're not.
Yeah. How's the production with the cows?
They're holding steady right around that 45 to 50 pounds a cow.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing to sneeze at, but you always wish for a little more.
Yeah, sure. So, well, it's a beautiful fall here as well. Last week was cold and miserable, but man, this week has just been the Indian summer we've been needing. So I know a lot of things are trying to be wrapped up before winter hits. So, Jon, I appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
This episode of Back to the Roots podcast is brought to you